Hey guys, what's up? This is Phoebe.
And this is Mike.
This is Alternative Sis Radio. We have a special in-studio guest today joining us for our artist spotlight. This is Nzondi. Hey, Nzondi.
Hey.
We're so happy to have you join us today.
Yes, we are.
So this is our actual first in-studio artist spotlight. So you are our first here.
Oh, wow. The first?
Yes, for artist spotlight. Absolutely.
Very cool.
Yeah, so we're so happy to join us. Nzondi is an American horror author and is the first African American to win the Bram Stoker in the novel category for his young adult book. The Bram Stoker Award is the most prestigious award given to horror writers in the world. So congratulations to that.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
very
Yes.
good.
Huge honor. I'm humbled every time I think about it.
Absolutely. And now you're probably thinking, how does Nzondi fit into the music world? So Nzondi is also a singer and producer. He has collaborated with many talented musicians, including Puddle of Mudd's drummer, David Moreno, and Fredro Starr from Onyx on his last song release called Teenage RockStarr.
Yes. That was a good song, too.
Thank you.
Very
Appreciate it.
good.
Love it.
Shout out to Fredro Starr. Shout out to David Moreno. What's up?
Yes. And hopefully they will be watching this.
Yeah,
we're
hopefully. Yeah,
gonna tag
maybe.
them.
Yeah. Tell about it. There you go.
Now, coming off of your successful song release, Teenage RockStarr, now that's being played internationally at nearly 100 radio
Can
stations.
you believe that?
I can't believe it.
I remember when it was 10, and I was
Yeah.
happy that it was 10. And now it's close to 100.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good milestone right there.
Yeah.
Thanks to you guys.
Now we need to go up to 200.
Yeah, that's the next one. That is the next one. Now you're going to be releasing a new song. You want to tell me about it? It's called Whatever.
Yeah, whatever, all lowercase, because it's like whatever, Well, I was inspired. Well, right now I have an executive producer. Shout out to Dan Shaw Productions, who is pitching 2 of my novels, Lipstick Asylum and A Warrior Mosaic, to TV, to TV production studios and whatnot. And we're really looking to get Feeney Zoe. That's the main character in A Warrior Mosaic, Feeney Zoe, the Feeney Zoe TV series out. And, during this whole process, which is a really tedious process, I think we've been working on this for almost close to maybe about 6 months now. I've watched a ton of teen dramas, teen horror dramas, from Buffy to Vampire Diaries. I think I'm in season 5 of Vampire Diaries now, And so when we were doing this, doing the script and working on the script for Feeney Zoe, I said, well, I want my own, like teen drama song. And the song came to me, and I started working on it. And there's a little twist. Alternate twist radio. There's a little twist. So I was at the Oscars a few weeks ago doing the Oscars rehearsal. You don't know anything about this.
Oh, man.
Oh my God. I was doing
Can't
the Oscar
wait.
rehearsals, had a great time. I was a rehearsal actor, a stand-in rehearsal actor. And, it was kind of cool. I've done it pretty much every year, except for the COVID years for the past 5-6 years. So met a lot of cool people, not to name drop, but this time it was really cool because I was standing in for Idris Elba, and I stood in for The Rock and a few other people. And when I was standing in for Idris Elba, I had to escort Nicole Kidman out, which was really cool. And so I had the chance to tell her, hey, I met you back in 1998. And she was like, where? I'm like, in Manhattan. And I said, I met you. It was the day before my friend Andrew Titus. Shout out to Andrew. What's up, Andrew? The day before he was getting ready to get married, and it was like bachelor's night out. And I saw you coming out of a restaurant in Manhattan. And I said, hey, Nicole, my name is Ace Antonio Hall. That's the name. I'm Nzondi, the author formerly known as Ace Antonio Hall. And at the time, though, it was Ace. And I said, and this is my buddy Andrew. Nicole, meet Andrew. Andrew's getting married tomorrow. And so she kind of laughed at that. And, we had a really cool talk and whatever. But that's not the twist of how I started writing Whatever, my inspiration. So you know, I'm standing backstage. It was dress rehearsal. I'm in a tuxedo. I'm kind of looking at the monitor, and I'm watching a performer who had just performed, and I'm watching him on the monitor, and he comes through the curtain. Like the curtains are here. I'm standing here looking at the monitor that's there. He comes through the curtains, right? Many people backstage. I hadn't met him before, and he stops. He looks right at me. He pulls up his shades, and he says, "Well, hello, Mr. Sir." It was Lenny Kravitz.
Oh my God.
Oh, well, hello to you too.
The stage manager's here, Gary's here, you know, different people are there. He looks only at me, pulls his shades up and says, "Well, hello, Mr. Sir." Now, my friend Jane, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and she said, "You know what, Ace? He doesn't even know that you're a rocker, but he saw you, your energy, your aura.
That's
he
right.
saw you, and it made him stop and speak and take notice to you." You know, I'm from New York, so I was just kind of like, "What's up?" And you know, he put his shades back down and he kept going. You know, he had this little entourage with him. He had to, you know, I guess whatever they were doing because it was rehearsal for the Oscars. So he left. But the fact that he stopped, Phoebe.
Oh my gosh.
He stopped and just pulled his shades up and said, "Well, hello, Mr. Sir." It made me say, you know what? I have another opportunity to do this music thing. I got to do it right. The next time I'm in the room with him, after this next single comes out, you know, and this next single does what we hope it does, you know, I want him to remember. And if not, he's going to remember. I'm going to be, you know, like, "Hey, remember when you saw this guy at the Oscars rehearsal and say, 'Well, hello, Mr. Sir'? That was me. You're the guy that did the single." "Right. What's up?
Oh my God.
Let's play together on the next song." You know, something like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
So that really inspired me to go in. So I went back to that song and fine-tune some things. I said, I got to make it right. It's got to be right, you know? And so that was kind of like the inspiration behind the song. And when you see the song and you see the video and you look at the album cover, which is really intriguing, Rezzy did a great job on it. This artist named Rezzy. You'll understand all of the emotion that goes behind the song, because the song is multi-layered. And it will be dropping on April 21st in a couple of weeks, and you'll get a chance to check it out and hear it then. It's called Whatever, all lowercase. Whatever.
There's a lot of people that usually say whatever.
I love it. Now, talking about your past projects, what was it like to collaborate with Puddle of Mudd's drummer David Moreno and Fredro Starr from Onyx?
Yeah, you know, it was really cool. So I've been in the music business. Like when I was in college, way back in the late 80s, and I was at CW Post Long Island University. I started in music back then, and I met a lot of cats back then. A lot of people, mostly a lot of people in the hip hop realm. And I think when I moved out here, and some of the endeavors that I, you know, was into out here, I was at BB King's, at City Walk a lot. And that's when I ran into Dave Moreno and a mutual friend of ours, Stefan, I forget his last name, Villanueva, Stefan Villanueva. And he had a recording studio, and I was recording a lot at his studio with my band back then. And, you know, I met Dave back then and went to some of his shows that he was performing with back then. And, you know, we got to be friends and went out drinking, you know. And so when I had the idea for that song, Teenage RockStarr, you know, he naturally he had to do it. It was incredible. And, you know, he's to me, he's like one of the best drummers in Los Angeles.
Yes, I love him.
And the way I sing the song, you know, just all gritty. I said, I wanted something, I need a little bit more grittiness to it. So I've known Fredro for, I don't know, almost 2 decades now. So I called him up. He said, "Send me the song, let me check it out." And he loved it, jumped right on it, sent me the tracks, and the rest is history, you know.
Have you noticed any difference from even 30 or 40 years ago, from when you were 17 or even going through it when you first started, the music back then to what it is now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, the major change of what it has been,
Yeah.
even within 10 years, the change of music is like sometimes astronomical to even some of the artists that's been around for the last 40, 50
Yeah,
years.
it's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, I have this conversation almost every few years with friends about, you know, how music has changed.
Oh yeah.
Music has changed.
Hmm.
It's so different now. And I think, you know, really what happens is we change. You know, there always have been great artists. You know, there've always been great songs, and there've always been terrible songs and terrible artists.
True.
There's always been mainstream. There's always been underground.
Right.
True.
You know,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I think part of what's changed about it is, you know, like when most people really get into music, it's kind of like when we're getting out of high school,
Mhm.
you know, and that's when we can listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
Once when you're in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, and you got a job, kids,
Oh, I know, yeah.
dogs, cats, mortgages, you don't
Yeah.
listen
Yeah.
to as much music. You don't even
Right.
go out as much.
True, yeah.
Unless you're in that kind of lifestyle.
Right.
True.
Right.
You
Yeah.
don't go out as much. So the most passionate part of your life was when you had your first drive, your first car, your first kiss, your first sock
Mhm.
hop, your
Yeah.
first party, you know, hanging out, drinking buddies, you know, and that's when music really, you know, it's kind of like played a large part in your life, and that's when
Right.
it meant the most to you.
Major
So as you get
influence.
older, the music that comes out now doesn't mean that much to you as it
Mhm.
did 10 years ago, because that's the music that really brought you up. So I
Mhm.
think that's part of it, but I do think music has changed. You know why? I think the internet has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Back in the day, when you had these really strong executives at Sony, I forget his name now. Ari, I can't even remember the guy's name. I used to study these cats at CBS and Sony, all these executives, and they used to do a lot of payola. You know, they did a lot of
Yeah.
payola, and you know what payola did? You know, as bad as it is, now, what it did was created superstars.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, because you were like, I need this amount of money to Michael Jackson, I need this amount of money to Tina Turner, I need this amount of money to the Beatles, this amount of money to the Rolling Stones, and it created superstars.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have that. We don't have back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, there was at least 30 to 40, you know, bands,
Mhm.
groups from R&B to pop to rock that
Yeah.
were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they made sure that those records
Mhm.
did what they needed to do.
Mhm.
And it's not like that now.
No.
Right.
You know,
No.
you have the Lady Gagas, you probably got like a 10, 15. You have a
Mhm.
handful. It's not like
Right.
it was then,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know. And I think that's partly the reason why. And, you know, I always look at when I taught school for 13 years
Mhm.
in Hempstead, New York, and I always tell my students, don't study who's out now, study who they studied.
Mm.
There you
know?
go.
And that's different
Right.
because the cats that, you know, really inspired me in the 90s, you know, the Alice in Chains, a lot of the Seattle group, the Alice in Chains, the Nirvanas, you know, a lot of those cats, who inspired them?
Right.
The
True.
Jimi Hendrix, you know,
Yeah.
the Clash, whoever, not the Clash, the who did Dirt? Who did Dirt?
Dirt.
Yeah, the
Oh,
song
gosh.
Dirt.
Oh,
The
I don't
Stooges.
remember.
Stooges.
Oh.
What's his name in the Stooges? You know, those cats. You know
Yeah.
the Stooges. Come on, you know the Stooges.
Larry,
Yeah.
Moe, and Curly.
No, the band the Stooges.
Oh, I thought we were talking. I'm
Man,
sorry. I thought we were
Stooges,
talking about the
Dirt.
Three Stooges here. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, you know.
I heard their song, but the names I'm not like
Oh,
familiar.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
sorry.
know those.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
yeah, that's
Led
okay.
Zeppelin,
Right,
Pink
right.
Floyd,
Yes.
you know,
There you go.
studying, and who did they study? And if
Right.
we study
True.
who they studied or who influenced them,
Mhm.
you know, today the music today would be different.
Right.
But
Oh,
but the music today, or a lot of the newer groups and bands today, are basically influenced by the bands that came out in the 2000s.
Right.
true.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
So who's influencing
True.
them? Yeah.
right,
So
True.
trickle down.
True.
right.
True.
So now, what inspired you on this latest project? You're gonna be releasing whatever, and then you also told me about Tequila Sunrise.
Oh,
You want to tell me about that on whatever and Tequila Sunrise?
Yeah. So I came up with this idea. Well, actually, this cat named Little Louis Vega, you know, he goes by Fat Cat because there's another Louis Vega who does house music. And you know, but this cat I've known for about 20, 30 years too. He does a lot of hip hop. He's like renowned. He's a phenomenal producer. he sent me a couple of tracks, and he sent me, you know, and I was asking him, I said, I need some rock tracks, man. You know, I'm doing rock, man. I need some rock tracks. And he sent me like a reggae track. He sent me a lot of different tracks. And he sent me a couple of rock tracks that I was loving, and I was writing some songs to him. It was when I was first starting this process, getting back into it. And then something made me listen to some tracks that he sent me when I first moved out to LA, and he wanted me to get him get his songs placed in movies and stuff. And I didn't have any connections at the time. And I listened back at that track, and it was a Latin track, and it was incredible. And I immediately started writing to it. And I came up with the concept of tequila and rock and roll, you know, just a Latina who really loves her rock music, you know, her rock and roll music, and she really loves her tequila. So I wrote that song, and this whole inspiration to do a variety, a project, the Tequila Project came up. And so that's where we get Tequila Sunrise, which is really like a commercial, right?
It is such a commercial.
Yeah, you better believe it. Yeah.
So we did Tequila Sunrise, which is kind of like a alternative rock pop vibe. And I did I worked with this cat named from New York named Johnny Human Torch, who's a phenomenal guitarist. And so we got a rock version of it, which will be dropping on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
nice.
we're going to be dropping reiterations, variations of it. So sometimes the lyrics are different. The music sometimes is different, kind of like a remix.
Yeah.
Sometimes a whole different song, but they all have to do with tequila. Tequila.
Oh,
and I have about 10 of them, 10 songs.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got reggaeton, we got smooth Latin, you know, a Santana kind of vibe.
So we just got a small taste of the tequila songs. That's all we got.
Small taste. That's awesome.
So look forward. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's different. I don't really know if anyone's ever done it like this. Maybe they have, but it's going to be pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to these next few months and releasing these songs.
And tell me about the inspiration behind Whatever. That's a pretty deep, you know, when you first sent me the song, I have different interpretations of it. Now tell me, what is the inspiration behind it? Because there's a lot of it's a ride. Yeah. Tell me about Whatever.
Well, you know, I kind of like to do songs, and I like to do songs where I guess it's the writer part of me, where when you listen to the song, you can almost see it, you can visualize it. And so I want to paint a picture, you know, in tones and in melodies and in harmonies, and allow each person to take from it what they want to take from it or what they can take from it. And so that's what I love about art, because how I created it could come from a whole different space from how you receive it.
Right.
You know, so really, you know, I just want everyone to take from it the inspiration that, you know, it really came from three places of my heart. It came from a place of pain, you know, it came from a place of inspiration, you know, Lenny Kravitz. And it also came from a place of I'm in awe of sometimes how we as people react and respond to things that go on in this world. And I don't want to put what my interpretation is in your head. I want you to listen to it and you just, you know, you feel it. Because I feel like music, even if it's in different languages, you know, it speaks to a whole different part of us, our subconscious mind and our soul, you know, and we just feel it so differently without even having to know what language it's in or what key it's in. Who cares what key it's in, you know, as long as it touches us and makes us feel a certain way. And that's what Whatever does, you know. So whether you're a teenager or a tween, you know, listening to the song and it affects you that way, or whether you're a single mom and it affects you that way, or, you know, some parents with proud kids in college. And I sound so way out there, the way I'm saying this. Once you hear the song, you know what I'm talking about.
See, what I first felt hearing your song, the rough demo version, I immediately was drawn and felt like it was a love story. Like I could just see you cuddling your lady and just asking her what's going on, what's wrong, and you're trying to connect with her, and she's maybe just kind of had too much of a rough day and just like, I don't know if I can talk right now, I don't want to, but then you just want to keep comforting her, and you're telling her we'll do whatever we can, let's get through this together. And then at the end it started getting a little bit on the dark side, because that's just my own interpretation.
I love it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yes, because you want to do whatever you want, whatever it takes to fix whatever this problem is.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, and then Mike heard it too, and he had a different interpretation of it. But at the same time, we were like, well, let's ask Ace when he gets here. Let's ask him, because he's the artist of the song. But Mike, you want to share what your interpretation was of whatever?
Wait, but I just want to comment that I love that you saw it as a love song.
Yes, it absolutely was a love. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I did see it as a love song too.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
I saw, there's quite a few different emotions that will actually come out of the song. The first part was basically starting out as a love song.
Yeah.
And then it kind of morphed into, something that was still a love song, but, it went in a different way as far as, like sadness or whatever else. And then like what she was saying to the darkness part.
Yeah.
And when I saw the picture that you made, the actual album picture,
Don't tell anybody what it is yet.
No. I won't. But it was just one of those things that it made me a little bit. It just kind of threw me off a little bit.
It made you uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes.
So it did its job.
Yes. So it did do its job. Yes.
Yeah.
But now I know the whole story behind it.
Yeah.
Now I could see it. Yeah. And that's what really matters the most.
I mean, but if I was a teenage girl, I definitely would see it as, from the lyrics, her boyfriend or her girlfriend or his boyfriend, like what's going on? Like, talk to me. I know that something is happening with you.
Yeah.
And I wanted to touch on some of the things also. I mean, as a teenager, I would look at like it touches on some of the things that I'm going through in school right now. I can't trust my friends who are really my friends. I don't know. It's kind of like I'm discovering who I am myself. So if I don't even know who I am myself, do I really know who my friends are? And I'm a little different. And because I'm a little different, I don't have the kind of friends that I would like to have. I'm not as popular as I would like to be, and so it touches on those nuances as well.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what makes that song even more special because of the way it is.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because it definitely speaks to a lot of people. It hits their feelings because a lot of people, obviously, they would think, you know what? Oh, man, I can't talk to somebody. Oh, I need to talk to somebody. But I want to talk to somebody, but we don't know who we can trust. And so that touches on that. And that's where the connections are built, so I really like that song.
And it's not only just teenagers that would probably relate to it. It's anybody of any age that would be able to relate to it.
Yeah.
Because there's still a lot of people that are in their 50s and 60s and even possibly 70s that's still going through the same process.
Yes.
And so that reminds me also, sometimes we're influenced by things and not even and don't even realize how we're influenced by them. For example, I'm part in the Horror Writers Association, which is one of the greatest, writing associations in the world. I love you guys. I'm also part of the Mental Health Awareness Initiative.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
And being on that committee, we are committed to having the resources, not being, we're not therapists, nothing like that, but having the resources for people to be able to know where to go when they need to talk about certain things.
Right.
So that's inside of me now. Like that part is part of me now. And also, I realize as a horror writer that we do have certain responsibilities, when we're writing about people who have mental health issues to get it right.
Right.
Come on.
That's right.
You know, we have certain responsibilities to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to, because, you know, writing is an escape,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but I feel like with mental health and mental health awareness, we should be a little bit more responsible.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that stuff is inside of me now. So when I write a song, you know, it comes from some of those dark places as well.
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so important nowadays to talk about mental health and fight against the stigma. You know, my work background, I spent 10 years working in mental health.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I never told you before. And so I felt the reward working in that field. And I learned so much more than I ever imagined I could. And learning the compassion and understanding and being in the field, you want to help people even more than just what is in the little box right there. So being part of the radio station, I've talked to so many artists. Mike and I, we talked to so many artists who have run into even more mental health issues during the pandemic, during the shutdown, that they couldn't, they felt like they couldn't connect with people. So then they turned to music. And that's where music is so therapeutic, and it lets us connect to other people as human beings. You know, if it wasn't for music, we wouldn't be able to talk. We wouldn't be sitting here, Ace, you know?
You know what? I have, okay, so two things. I want to remind me of the second thing, hip hop. Just say hip hop and then remind me of the second thing.
Okay.
So the first part of that is I realized the pandemic helped me realize that every single person has something, a hang up, something about them.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's beautiful about this world. No one is perfect. No one.
No.
You know, and everybody has some kind of hang up, some kind of issue, something, some kind of baggage. And not everyone has the outlets to speak about it.
Right.
And that's part of the adulting and not even adulting, teenaging, growing up, not being able to talk about something and it just stays in you. And that's part of, you know, becoming healthy mentally, is being able to talk about it or having some kind of access to talk about it. And the second thing, hip hop, I reminded myself. So one of the versions of Tequila and Rock and Roll, which isn't done yet, we're working on it, is going to be like this really cool hip hop version. And, you know, I talk about, at the beginning of it, I talk about how people always ask, what are my influences? What band influenced me? And I'm like, to be honest with you, I was a little, you know, whippersnapper, you know, when I was introduced to music. So I didn't have money to go to concerts or nothing like that. What influenced me? Who influenced me were DJs. So I say DJs.
That was different.
Influenced me.
Wow.
You know, it was the DJs. And when I was growing up in Jacksonville, Florida, we had this cat named Larry Brody. He'd be like, hey, you know, Larry Brody. I remember that growing up, you know. It was him, and it was, hey, this is Wolfman Jack, Wolfman, we got coming up, we got Johnny Cat. You know, it was all these cats, you know, that influenced me. And we had Captain Neil mixed with Elton John, mixed with the Silvers, mixed with Earth, Wind and Fire, mixed with, you know, Rick James. It was like a variety of different music. But I wouldn't have known any of that had it not been for the DJs.
Oh, wow.
True. That's true.
I am like, who influenced me? The DJs. I had to give props to all the radio stations, all the DJs who brought the music to me.
Right.
You know, the Nicole Alvarez's, you know, of the,
love Nicole Alvarez. Yes, on K-Rock.
Yes, you know, all these people, you know, the DJ Red Alert, you know, cool DJ Red Alert, you know, from New York, and the Von Harpers, all these cats, you know.
Richard Blythe.
Yeah. You know,
we're showing our age. No.
This cat that really gave me, I'm giving a call. Hey, Miss Rogers, if you see this is Charlene's mom. Charlene's and Vicky's mom. Miss Rogers, give me a call. I'm on the radio right now, but I will call you back. Charlene, tell your mom I'll call her back. Speaking of Jacksonville, she's from Jacksonville. Just call me from Jacksonville, Florida.
Yes.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, so
wow.
It was the DJs that really inspired me way before. I have to give them, how can I not give them, you know, the props? Because I wouldn't have heard any of the music. I didn't go to concerts. My first concert was Prince.
Oh,
like
yeah.
17, 18, you know.
Yeah,
I'd heard the music way before then.
Yeah.
true.
Love Prince.
Yeah.
Now, tell me what is up next for you and Nzondi. You have and that's going to be released soon. Tequila Sunrise is going to be soon in the summertime. And what's up after that?
So, people used to ask me like, how do you do all these things? I can't do all of them all at once. I have to do one thing and then do this and then do that and then do this. And it feels kind of like now I'm juggling a few things, but really it's taken me 30 years, it took me a long time to learn how to write a good novel. And I just focused on writing novels. And once I did that, I'm on my 4th, 5th novel now.
Nice.
So I'm finishing that up. But now I'm in the midst of this project that just popped up on me. I did one song that was based on a character in my book that I'm writing now. That's what Teenage RockStarr is all about.
Yes.
It's based on a character that I'm writing now in a book that isn't even finished yet. It's almost done. That's my next book. And from doing that one song, and it just spiraled, it just kind of snowballed into meeting you guys and all these other radio stations and doing drops, radio drops. I never thought I would do radio drops. I'm doing radio drops and now having producers send me songs. And then I started writing some songs again myself. So now I'm kind of focused on, let me finish this project.
Yes.
But I can't just stop everything because I have, the executive producer calling me about, okay, I need a deadline for the script and I need a deadline for this and that. So what's next, I think right now is the single. And then, the singles are going to be planned during the summer and we're tightening up and going to get, the Feeny Zoe TV series wrapped up and get that sold. And so I think that's kind of like the next thing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
And where can people find you on your streaming and your socials?
Easy. Everything now is in one place. You can just go to my website, A. Antonio Hall. I am the author formerly known as A. Antonio Hall. That's still my website, AANtonioHall. I met Antonio Banderas too. That was so cool. When Antonio and Salma Hayek, when they were presenting at the Oscars, and we had to do the rehearsals, and Salma Hayek gave me an Oscar in rehearsal. I'm like, oh my God, Salma Hayek just gave me an award. Oh my God. And Antonio Banderas, he can't, we were walking off the stage, like I'm holding an Oscar, it's rehearsal. He grabs my hand and says, you need to give me that Oscar. And I'm like, Antonio Banderas just grabbed my hand and told me to give him the Oscar. Oh my God, this life is great, But anyway, so it's A. Antonio. I got sidetracked. A. Antonio Hall. So AANtonio H as in Harold. ALL. I got an Arsenio Hall story too. That's
stories.
I would tell people my name is Antonio Hall, like Arsenio Hall. And I stood in for him a few weeks ago on the Chris Rock pre-show. And he came to the rehearsal, so I was able to tell him.
Oh my God!
Wow.
When I was standing in for him, and then he came to the rehearsals, I said, I was standing in for you, and then we started talking. While we were in rehearsal, we started talking. I told him how. Just this Wednesday, it was like Friday or Saturday. It might have been Saturday. I said, just this Wednesday, I just sent a clip. Just before I even knew I was standing in for you, I sent a clip to my niece, Kiki Shelton. What's up, Kiki? Kiki Shelton. I sent a clip to her that had Arsenio and Eddie. And Eddie was giving him a hard time, just like really not answering, like, yeah. Okay. And they were laughing. And so I told him that, and he told us the whole backstory behind why Eddie was giving him that hard time. Basically, Arsenio had just interviewed De Niro, and De Niro is really great. De Niro is one of my favorite actors. Meryl Streep, De Niro, Denzel. They're like my favorite. Meryl Streep, I would drink out of her. I love Meryl Streep so much. I would drink bathwater out of her shoe. Don't tell anybody. I love her that much. I love Meryl Streep. But anyway, he said De Niro doesn't talk a lot in his interviews, and so he was giving him these really short answers, and Eddie knew that. So when he had Eddie on the show, Eddie said, I'm gonna mess with you when I get on the show. And that's how he did it, by just giving him short answers. And he gave us that backstory. He gave us some more backstory on you know, on De Niro that I can't talk about it publicly, but it was so cool. And I forgot to tell him that my last name is Hall too. I forgot to tell him that all the time. I'm like, yeah, Antonio Hall, like Arsenio Hall. I forgot to tell him that, but it was so cool. Anyway, that's my Arsenio story. I have tons of stories. I'm a storyteller.
Could have been my brother from a different mother. Who knows?
But you can find me at my website, aantoniohall.com. All my music is there. Videos are there. My books are there. Short stories, news,
Good.
All the latest stuff.
Good.
You are creating an empire. You're creating a brand.
Yes.
I mean, I see it already.
Did you see my logo?
I love your logo.
Yes,
Wait
that
till
was
y'all
very
see
nice.
my
Yes.
logo.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
And we're so lucky that you're able to give us the little behind the scenes, and
Yes.
to let us hear your music unofficially. So, I love that we can hear the little tidbits of that.
Cool.
And that
Thank
tells
you.
us a lot.
Thank you.
And your new song, Whatever, that's going to be dropping, you said Cinco de Mayo, right?
No.
No.
Oh,
Whatever is coming out on April 21st.
oh, I'm sorry. That's
Yeah.
right.
Friday,
April
April
21st.
21st.
Yes,
Yeah.
April 21st.
Yeah.
And that song, Whatever, is written, recorded, performed, and produced by you. That's your baby. That's your
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I felt was really inspiring and amazing.
Thank you.
Yes. And let me see here what else I have. That is fantastic. Did you want to share any other stories about your music or people that you
Man,
met in the
listen, we'll be
past?
here all day long.
All day, all night. We'll be
Oh, I
putting
have-
toothpicks in our eyes.
I always tell my friends, I'm like, it's like Forrest Gump. Like in Forrest Gump, the movie, he didn't understand what his limitations were.
Mm,
And he met all these different people,
right.
like that has been my path.
Mm,
So I've always known that if I just work really, really hard, harder than most people work, like harder than not most people, harder than the people around me. Anytime I see someone around me, they're like, hey, what time are we leaving? I'm like, I don't care. I just got here.
mm.
I'm used to the person that gets there early. And if you know me, I'm always here early. Like I was even in this, I'm in Paris.
Yeah.
I was in Paris early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super
I
early.
always get here early, and I always usually leave late. I've always been like that. I've had over 55 types of jobs. I just believe in really working hard. So I knew that with this pathway, like Mom and Donna's story. I told you.
Yes, yes. Tell
Madonna.
the people again the Madonna
Madonna
story.
story?
Yes.
Madonna story?
You told
Come
me last
on.
year, but I don't know if
mean,
Mike heard it.
Madonna story. I got Donna Ross story. I have stories. I have the Jackson story. All these different the interactions in my life. As Forrest Gump, just meeting all these different people. Okay, I'll tell you the Madonna story.
Mhm.
It was a long time ago. She was married to Penn.
The dancer.
Sean Penn. No, she was married to Sean Penn.
Oh, Sean
Sean
Penn time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sean
Sean
Penn.
Penn.
That
time.
was
That's-
way
yeah,
early.
wow, that was way early.
This was when she was at the height.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
She's. I mean, I don't know if you can say at the height, but it was like mature.
Yeah.
girl
So
time.
so
She was wearing
late
the hat.
early
This
80s.
is 19. I want to say 87 or either 88.
Yes.
Yes.
87
Yes.
or 88. So me, my friend Scott, and Drew was with. No, Drew was. I think maybe Andrew.
Drew.
Drew who met Nicole Kidman, but I'm not sure if he was with us. I think he might have been with us. But Bobby, who I call English Bobby,
Huh.
Ice, English Bobby, because he's from England, and so we were together. And Scott, his father, shout out to Uncle Trevor, love you Uncle Trevor, love you Aunt Joy, Uncle Trevor. Scott Gordon Summers, he was this manly, worldly person. His father was the ambassador for Jamaica. He knew all these models or whatever. So as soon as we walk into the club, it's in Alphabet City in New York. Prince talks about Alphabet City. It's right off a house on like Avenue 8. There was this club called the World. It was like a house club. As soon as we walk in, Scott sees this model and just leaves us standing there. Me and Bobby. I'm like, whatever. So let's go upstairs. So I go upstairs. Bobby and I go upstairs. Ice, let's go upstairs. I'm terrible. Whenever my friend like Alfie Enoch hears my voice, the Ace and stuff. But anyway, I stood in for Alfie a few years ago. But anyway, we go upstairs and he goes, Ice, that's Madonna. I can't do the accent. And I'm like, that's not Madonna. And I look and I'm like, I'll be right back. So I leave Bobby there and I go to Madonna and she's with Oh, I can't remember one of her really good friends back in the day. Can't remember her name. Debbie. I can't remember.
Debbie Mazar.
Yes.
Yes, you told me. I
Oh,
remember.
yes,
Yes,
oh.
I love her.
Yes.
Debbie Mazar.
I think this was before Debbie blew up. So
Mhm.
she's with Debbie, and I said, "You want to dance?" And she goes, "Sure." And we're dancing, and it's not like for 2 seconds. We're dancing this house music. We're dancing for a good 10, 15 minutes.
Wow.
Rocking. And so it's like Madonna's here, I'm here, I'm dancing with Madonna. She has the whole Material Girl look, the hat on,
Oh,
the
wow.
whole hat, everything. And Debbie's like here, and I'm not even paying attention to Debbie. I'm like, Debbie's here, it's me and Madonna. Madonna's not really not dancing with Debbie either. It's like we're dancing, and I'm having the time of my life, baby. And I want to show her that I can dance, I can do my thing, and I want to show my spin moves, my house spin moves and stuff. And so I do a spin, my famous spin back then. I do a spin, and I'm like doing my spin. It's like kind of like spin, and my elbow hits her hat.
Oh,
It's a good thing you didn't hit her head, her face.
So, excuse me, if you've ever done something and your heart just drops.
Yeah.
My heart was like,
Yeah.
I thought the hat was gonna fly off, and it would be just like this terrible thing, whatever. But it hadn't come off, and she kept dancing, and she was cool. So we danced for another song and a half, whatever it was. We kept dancing, we having a good time. So I learned my lesson. So some corny song comes on, the dance floor kind of dissipates, it's the end. So I've dreamed this, Mike, I'm telling you, I have dreamed this over the years since 1988.
Whoa,
20, 30 times, all different kind of endings, different endings.
Okay.
Forget that Sean
Okay.
was married to her. I had different endings, but this is the real ending. I go to her, I say to her, I don't know if I said thank you for the dance, but I go, my name's Ace. Like my name's Ace. What's your name?
Real slick.
The hell? My name's Ace. What's your name? And if you've ever watched Madonna in an interview or anything like that, then you know how she's
quick.
Yeah, she's quick, and she'll get you. And she said, "You know who I am." And when she said that with that sassiness, I was like a dog with my tail between his legs. I was like, okay, thank you for the dance. Thank you for the dance.
We gotta go see my mind.
Okay, thank you for the dance. And I left like a little scared puppy, because she just intimidated me. She
Yeah.
emasculated me. Madonna emasculated me. But all I had to do was just be like, hey, I love your music, blah, blah, blah. I had trying to be someone who I'm not. I knew who she was, and she
Yeah.
knew I knew who she was.
Yeah.
And she called me on it, and I shriveled.
Yeah.
And left. So it could have turned out different. Hey, so I love you so. Hey, let me just buy you a drink.
Yeah.
Let me buy. Hey, come on, Debbie, let me buy both of you guys a drink.
Yeah.
Anything,
Yeah.
and it would have been cool, but it wasn't cool. It was uncool, and so that's my Madonna story.
You know what? That probably gave her a laugh, and she's probably talked about that for a little while. Like, maybe, who knows? But you know what? It still had probably a good lasting impression on her.
Yeah.
And
She don't. That girl, that woman does not remember that day. Does not know who I am.
I'm sure she
I
does.
promise you, she does not remember that. I promise you.
You'll have your retribution. I promise you.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm sure
you
she
will.
One of these days.
You will.
Yeah, especially
now
if
that
she, if she hears this or she watches this, she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember him."
I'll hashtag her for sure.
Oh, okay, there we go.
I tagged her last time too.
Let's let the songs speak for themselves.
Yes,
Yeah,
Maybe
yes.
the songs speak for
That's right.
themselves.
Yes,
Maybe
yes,
then
yes.
the universe will allow that us to connect
Yes.
again.
At least
have a laugh.
At least one more dance.
Yeah.
One more dance.
So you gotta fix it. You gotta fix that
That's
issue.
right. One more dance.
Yeah. So I got a lot of stories like that. I got Donna Russell where I did stuff, but we can talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, that was nice.
Ace, it's so amazing that you came here. I'm so happy that you came here to show us your music. And so guys, find Ace Antonio Hall under Nzondi. His music is on all streaming platforms. Listen to Teenage Rockstar. Love that. He's playing it on our radio station as well as other radio stations, almost 100 now.
Yes.
Radio stations.
Yes.
And
Do y'all play my drop?
Yes, we do.
Best station
Yes,
we
in
do.
the nation.
Yes. Yes, we do.
Alternative Twist Radio.
Yes,
Yes.
that's him.
Yes, it is.
And keep an ear out for whatever, which drops April 21st.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then Tequila Sunrise is going to be when? Cinco de Mayo or
Yeah,
in July?
we're looking to drop. So like the Tequila Project is going to be, like I said, it's about 10 songs.
Mhm.
So we're gonna drop the first song on. We're gonna release that on Cinco de Mayo,
Okay.
and we'll release another song in June, and then we're gonna release the whole entire EP of songs on National Tequila Day on July 24th, that Monday.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
So
Nice.
definitely keep an eye or an ear out for his new music.
Yeah, both.
Yes.
Keep both out.
Thank you so much, Nzondi. Thanks for watching, guys. Please share, like, and subscribe to our channel and find us on all of our social media, links in our bio. Thanks.